So, we're talking about one of the hindrances to answers to prayers, and it appears that we most time think sin is primarily one of the things that hinders our prayer from being heard or from being answered. It struck me how deeply it became clearer to me that not only is sin a great hindrance, but how we treat other people can also become a hindrance to answered prayers. And so the truth is that our vertical relationship with God cannot be separated from our horizontal relationship with people. God listens to not only to what we say in prayer, but also how we treat others. I think in the Bible passage, there's a place mentioned that how can you love man that you haven't seen? How can you love God that you haven't seen when you haven't loved man that you don't see? Also in the book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 23-24, the Bible recorded that Jesus taught that if you remember someone has something against you while offering your gifts, while you have come to church to worship, while you're in the middle of a prayer section, while you're in the middle of Thanksgiving, all these are aspects of worship in today's Christianity or any other religion that really values worship and prayer. And so the passage is saying that if you're about to worship, if you're in a prayer section, if you close your eyes, you want to worship, whether in a public section or in a private section, and you remember. And sometimes God will cause you to remember someone you have treated very wrongly or someone that have treated you wrongly, especially when you're about to pray. And most time it does happen. And so once you close your eyes or you are drawing closer to the moment of prayer, glimpse of events that has happened, how you were treated wrongly or how you have treated someone wrongly will appear. The reason why these moments appear is because it is important to God to see how you treat other people. And so most time I want to challenge you to think about this. If you had an employee, how do you treat your employers? If you are a wife, how do you treat your husband? How do you treat your children? If you are a husband, how do you treat your wife? How do you treat your children? If you have servants, helpers at home, how do you treat them? If you are a boss in the office, how do you treat the people that are under you, your subordinates? If you are a HOD, how do you treat people that you are meant to guide? Because all these things, all these relationships matters to God. And so you cannot be wishing someone evil and you come to God and say, God, I want you to bless me. When in effect, you are the one holding the blessing of others. You cannot come to God and say, God, please heal my sickness. God, please provide for me. While you have treated someone who you could have helped to become better. You have made their day miserable. You have made their stay in the workplace miserable. And yet here you complain to God to do something for you that you had the ability to do for others, and yet because of a bad attitude, you have not done it to them. So what's the point? God searches the heart. And so most times, I want to imagine a situation where you have come to worship, you have come to pray to God, and you close your eyes, and then your spiritual journey begins, and then you see yourself in heaven worshiping, and then you begin to demand. Because most time we have this attitude of converting prayer to a demand section where we only open our mouth to begin to ask for things. And most unfortunately is that we are so desperate about our demands that we don't even pay attention, because sometimes prayer demands that we also pay attention to what God is saying. Like the instance I made earlier, when he would bring up issues, he wants to see how you address those issues. He will replay the events of yesterday, the events of yesteryear, the events of how you treated people. Relationship matters to God. Remember, there is a vertical relationship moving upward to God. There is a relationship that moves horizontal, relationship with people. Whether it is a domestic, at home, or in the workplace, or for people who work with other people, like working with children, working with adolescents, working with other people, other adults within your work environments. Your horizontal relationship with them, how you treat them, how you speak to them, how you assist them. Someone has refused to get to a particular position, so has been unable to get to a particular position because the superior who was supposed to recommend them has refused to recommend them. And in the office, we see this kind of politics play on. People recommend people that they prefer because of their loyalty, because they are easily controlled, because they are coming back with kickbacks, they're coming back with what they assume to be appreciation, they're coming back to split the profit, to share the profit, just to make you put them back in that position. Office politics. Office politics has destroyed many relationships. And you can't be strongly or strangely in this kind of politics, and then you expect your prayers not to be hindered. Because most time, what God demands from us is a heart of love. I've never seen anything that moved God like love. And so we also have a story in the Bible where Jesus Christ was narrating a parable about a debtor who went to the one he was owing, and the one he has owed has come to seize something from him. And he fell on the ground and started crying and wailing and said, "Please forgive me. I don't have the money. I'll pay you back." And the man, being compassionate, has left him and said, "Go, whenever you have the money, you can pay." But as he left that scene, he went straight away to the one who was owing him. As he dragging the person, he didn't have mercy, he didn't have compassion. Unknown to him, the one that he was owing had to approach and say, "Hey, what kind of a person are you? You were owing me a huge amount and I just forgave you, and yet you are finding it difficult to forgive someone who is owing you." And so these are most of the attitude that we have that prevents God from answering our prayer, that prevent God from listening to our prayers. Because God values reconciliation. Worship and prayer are weakened when relationships are deliberately taken or left broken. Of course, a mature believer pursues peace while possible. Do you know that unforgiveness blocks prayer? Do you know that family relationships affect prayer? Do you know that confession and accountability bring healing? Do you know that love is the foundation of effective prayer? Do you also know that people must reconcile with God? People need to reconcile with their spouses, with their parents, with their children, with their siblings, with the church members, with neighbors, with colleagues, with those they have offended, and even those that we have offended. Many believers pray louder when God is asking them to love better. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough is not found in praying longer, but in forgiving deeper, apologizing sincerely, and loving genuinely. A heart that is right with people is often a heart that is ready to receive from God. May the Lord help us to reveal every broken relationship that is hindering our prayers, and give us the grace to forgive completely, removing bitterness, anger, pride, and resentment from our hearts, and also restoring peace in our family, in our relationship with people around us. In Jesus' name.